Have you ever wondered if the person you trust most is living a lie? Not a small lie, but a deep, dark, all-consuming one. This is a story about a man who built a life of honor on a foundation of murder, and the 7-year illusion he maintained. It's a story that asks a chilling question. How long can you run from yourself? In the fall of 2016, a young woman named Catherine, or Cotty to her friends, was found murdered in her home. The evidence pointed swiftly and overwhelmingly to one person: her estranged husband, a 28-year-old U.S. Army soldier named John Blauvelt. But by the time police were ready to make an arrest, Blauvelt was gone. He had vanished, leaving behind not just a crime, but a life he was determined to bury. This is where the story shifts from a tragic but familiar manhunt into a deep psychological study. For 7 years, John Blauvelt didn't just hide. He didn't live in the shadows, constantly looking over his shoulder. He did something far more audacious. He constructed a new reality. He traveled across the country, settled in Oregon, and became someone else. He called himself Ben. And Ben was, by all accounts, a good man. He was friendly. He was hardworking. He even found a new partner, a woman who knew nothing of the ghost he left behind in North Carolina. But the most stunning part of this reinvention is that he re-enlisted in the U.S. Army. Under his real name, he slipped back into the very system that values honor and integrity above all else. And he thrived. He was deployed. He served with distinction. He earned medals. Imagine the sheer force of will required for that. To wake up every morning, put on a uniform that represents service and sacrifice, and carry the weight of what you've done. To stand among heroes, knowing you are a killer. This wasn't just hiding. This was an act of profound, almost pathological denial. Psychologists call it compartmentalization. He effectively built a wall in his mind. On one side was John, the killer, a memory locked away, a door he refused to open. On the other side was Ben, the soldier, the hero. And every day, he chose to live as Ben. Every medal pinned to his chest, every compliment he received, reinforced this new identity and pushed the memory of Cotty further into the shadows. He built a fortress of normalcy around himself, and for a long time, it held strong. But truth is a persistent thing. While Blauvelt was building his new identity, the family of Cotty Blauvelt refused to let her memory fade. They became a relentless force for justice. They appeared on television. They spoke to news outlets. They ensured that John Blauvelt's face, his real face, was never forgotten. They were the keepers of the reality he was trying so desperately to escape. The investigation, too, was a slow, steady pulse that never stopped. Detectives chased down every lead. The case was featured on national true crime shows, broadcasting his face into millions of homes. The digital wanted posters spread across the internet. While John was living his life as a decorated soldier, the world was, in fact, closing in on him. His fortress of denial was under a slow, invisible siege. The first crack in that fortress came from the person closest to him. His partner in Oregon, the woman who knew him as Ben, saw a television segment about the case. She grew suspicious. The man she knew as Ben bore a striking resemblance to the fugitive John Blauvelt. His stories didn't quite add up. Small inconsistencies she had previously ignored now seemed like glaring red flags. The carefully constructed facade was beginning to crack. She bravely contacted the authorities, setting in motion the final act of this long drama. With that new information, U.S. Marshals and local police descended on his quiet life in Oregon. And on a day that started like any other, the two worlds of John Blauvelt finally collided. As officers approached him, the illusion shattered. He was no longer Sergeant Blauvelt, the respected soldier. He was John Blauvelt, the murder suspect. The 7-year performance was over. His arrest was quiet, almost anticlimactic. There was no dramatic chase, no final confrontation. There was only the quiet, crushing weight of reality. The armor he had so carefully built over 7 years crumbled in an instant. The man who had convinced himself he was a hero was now in handcuffs, forced to confront the monster he had tried to bury. Imagine that moment, the sudden, brutal realization that the life you've meticulously built is a fantasy, and the nightmare you've been running from has finally caught you. It's the ultimate fall from grace, not from the heights of military honor, but from the fragile precipice of self-deception. He was extradited back to North Carolina, his 7-year detour from justice at an end. He eventually pleaded guilty, a legal close to the case. But the story leaves us with unsettling questions. Was his double life a calculated act of a master manipulator? Or was it the desperate, last-ditch effort of a man to outrun his own conscience? The case of John Blauvelt is a chilling exploration of the human capacity for self-deception. It shows us that a person can build an entire world on a lie. But it also serves as a powerful testament to the enduring nature of truth. For 7 years, he lived in a reality of his own making. But in the end, justice, carried by the love of a family and the persistence of investigators, found him. It was a long time coming, but it was not denied.